Hey everybody, and welcome back to Cooking It Real. If you're new here, my name is Kathy, and I'm so glad that you could join me in my kitchen. Today I'm coming back with a couple of more sourdough discard cracker recipes. The first one I'm going to make is a cracker flavored with ranch. If you love the taste of ranch dressing or Cool Ranch chips or things like that, you're going to love this cracker. It's absolutely amazing. And the second one is going to be made with Everything Bagel seasoning. Garlic, sesame seeds, salt, pepper, all the things. I'm glad you're here. Can't wait to get started. Let's go. The last time I was with y'all and made sourdough discard crackers, I made cheesy, spicy crackers like Cheez-Its. And basically it's a formula recipe. It's very easy. All you have to do is remember 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of sourdough discard, and 4 tablespoons of softened butter. After that, sky's the limit. You can add any kind of spices, seasonings, cheeses, chocolate, whatever you want to do. Sky's the limit, like I said. So let's get started. All right, I'm going to do the ranch crackers first. So we're going to start with 1 cup of all-purpose flour. And to that, we're going to add 1 cup of sourdough discard. This is my discard jar this week. And this is just, I'm going to stir it down. It's just an unfed sourdough starter. So we need 1 cup of that. Let's see. Ooh, that's almost a cup. There we go. That's good enough for now. Pour that into the bowl. Should have done that facing you. That's what all the TV chefs do. Now, I'm not a TV chef, of course. I'm not a chef at all. I'm just a person who loves to cook, and I do like to share the things I've learned and loved about cooking. And then I need my 4 tablespoons of softened butter. Hang on, it's over there. All right, so 4 tablespoons is 1/2 of a stick of butter. And this is not melted, but it is softened. It's been at room temperature, so it gets nice and soft. I'll put that over there. And I'm going to give this just a little bit of a mix, just a little. Now, you may wonder, how are you going to get that ranch flavor? Well, if you've ever made your own ranch dressing from the little packets that you can get from that valley that is hidden at the grocery store, then you know what I'm going to tell you. I was fortunate enough at one of the Sam's Clubs locally to find a big jar of this ranch powder. And this stuff is amazing. It has a million different uses. Now, you can make your own. Basically, it's a buttermilk powder. And like, I never heard of buttermilk powder before, but you can find it in the baking aisle. Usually it's like on one of the higher shelves, like where you might find baking soda and all that kind of stuff. But if you don't want or don't need a big jar of this, you get you a couple little packets, because I'm just going to use 3 tablespoons of this powder. Okay, there's 1, 2, and I'm not being precise because I like the flavor. Last time I made it with 2 tablespoons, and I've decided, no, 3 is the way to go. 3 is the way. I'm also going to add some fresh dill. This was growing in my garden. I just picked it right before I started filming this video. And I have here, this is a 1/4 cup measure, so I have about 3 tablespoons of fresh dill. And dill is one of the ingredients in the powder. Now, if you don't want to add or you don't have fresh dill, you could add some dried dill, or you could leave it out, or you could add some of the other fresh herbs that you might have that are in the ranch mix, such as parsley, thyme. It's up to you. But our dill is growing very well, but it's getting kind of warm where we live. And dill is sort of like a cool spring crop. And so I don't know how much longer it's going to last. So basically, we're trying to think of any which way we can to use up as much dill as possible. So once you get this a little bit mixed, you're going to want to get in there with your hands. Now, if you don't like touching things like this, you can wear a pair of gloves, or you could maybe use a little hand mixer, or you could just keep working it with a spoon. But what you want to do is work it into what they call a cohesive dough. Okay, it's a little soft because of the butter and the starter. Well, it's not starter, discard. I mean to say discard, but it comes together pretty easy. Just mush it around in the bowl. Just try to get some off the sides. Get as much together as you can. And this is exactly how we did it with the cheesy cracker recipe. We added, I think it was like a heaping half a cup of shredded cheddar cheese. And I will link that recipe down below if you haven't seen it and you want to try it out. Another great recipe. And my husband and I, we are really starting to dig these crackers. I mean, we'll have them for snacks, with a nice cold drink, or crumble some up on our salads, or just they're good in all many ways. All right, that's that for that. Now, this is going to have to be wrapped up in plastic and put in the fridge for about 30 minutes at least. If you want to make this ahead, you can leave it in the fridge for 2 days if you want to. Now I'm going to make my next cracker. This is my Everything Bagel seasoning cracker, and I am going to do it a little bit differently because I'm going to use half all-purpose flour and half whole wheat flour, just to give it a different flavor. So here's my half a cup of all-purpose. Woo! And my half a cup of whole wheat flour. A little bit more. So I cheated myself a little bit on that one. Skimped. All right, where's my butter? My quarter cup, 4 tablespoons of butter, or a quarter cup, same thing, same measure. In it goes. And now let's see what I got left in this jar for discard. Let's see, I'm gonna kind of scrape down the bottom. That looks like about a quarter cup. Don't worry, I got another jar. Woo! If you don't keep a lot of discard and you only have a little bit, you could always like half this recipe. That would be easy enough to do. It would work out just as well. Or, if you're like just a little bit short of a cup, that's not going to matter much either. These kind of recipes are incredibly forgiving. All right, this guy is like pretty much empty. He's going in the sink. I've mentioned in some of my videos before that when you are cleaning out your jars of starter or discard or whatever, you don't want to pour this stuff down the sink. I mean, it looks nice and liquidy now, but it turns into, if you spill it on your counter and walk away, it's going to turn into like concrete. And so no matter how much water you put on it, you're going to have something in your pipes that you don't want. All right, here we go. Doop, doop, doop. All right, see, now I'm trying to do the, ooh, can you see that? I don't even know if you can see that. Usually I'm here with my sidekick, Caleb, or my husband Will and my daughter Stephanie. But today I'm just by myself in the kitchen. Sometimes that's more fun. Not as many laughs though. Not as many laughs as when we're with Caleb. That's for sure. He's a wise guy. All right. Let's see. That in there. Now, we'll mix this up a little bit with a spoon. And you know, in the ranch powder, there is salt. And in this seasoning, there is salt. So I didn't add any salt. But if you were making like the cheesy crackers, you might want to add a little salt because, you know, it just helps with the flavor. But I've said in several videos lately that my husband and I are trying to cut down on our salt a little bit. And so we're almost losing our taste for salt. I don't know if any of you have ever had to restrict your salt or your sugar or something like that. And then, you know, when you taste something that is salted like normally, like at a restaurant or whatever, it seems like incredibly salty or incredibly sweet. And it can be kind of shocking. Your taste buds will definitely adapt. And I think that's a cool thing. All right, now we're going to work this one into the cohesive dough, just like the other one. And then we're going to wrap them up and put them in the fridge for 30 minutes, during which time I will clean up some of this mess, maybe have a cup of tea, and be back to show you how I'm going to roll them out. Oh, I forgot to put in the seasoning. Mercy. Good Lord. All right. Good gracious me. All right. This is original Everything Bagel seasoning. Okay, and it's a mix of sesame seeds, sea salt, garlic, onion, black sesame seeds, and poppy seeds. And it's good. It's good on all kinds of things. But today, it's going to go into our dough. Now, let's see. I'm going to use, let's see, 1, 2, 2.5 tablespoons in this amount of dough. I'm going to work it in. And I might sprinkle some on the top. We'll see. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Ooh yeah. Oh, it smells good too. Oh, when this starts to bake, if you've ever had an Everything Bagel and you like them, you know it's like a very addictive seasoning. This goes great like on eggs and oh, so many different things. All right. That's good for now. I'm going to wrap these up, put them in the fridge, and I'll be back with you later. 30 minutes. First thing, you want to get your oven preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Look at how pretty this dough looks. Oh my word, that's gorgeous. I'm just going to take, I think about this much for now. That should be one tray. This feels kind of soft still. I don't know. I might need to put it in for a little bit more. We'll see. We'll do a test run. I got a piece of parchment paper that's going to go on my half sheet tray. Dust it with flour. I'm going to put my dough on it. I want to push this out to like a rectangle. Maybe a little dough on top. Not a little dough, a little flour on top. A little flour on my rolling pin. And let's just see what we can do. Oh, very soft, very, very wonderful. You know what I'm going to do while I'm doing this? I'm going to put this dough, I'm going to rewrap it and put it back in the fridge. All right. Let's see. Oh, beautiful. Whoops. Yeah, that's pretty sticky. We're going to bake it on this piece of parchment. We're going to slide the parchment onto our cookie sheet, or our sheet pan, I should say. And that's how we're going to do it. I can smell that fresh dill. A little more more flour up here. You want to roll this out to between 1/8 of an inch and 1/16 of an inch. And that is pretty thin. But you just take your time and work it. It's best to work it from like the center out. The center out. And it doesn't have to, this piece of parchment is going to fit on the sheet nice and easy. So long as you keep it on the parchment, you'll do okay. If you have a bigger piece of dough that you're working and you roll it out, and to get it to the thickness, it winds up going off the parchment, you just take a knife or whatever and just cut along the edge. Then you save that little scrap and you roll it out with the next piece. Yeah, this dough is super soft still. Let's see. Trying to gauge the thickness here. Let's see. If you have it too thick, then it's gonna take a real long time to cook. If it's not even thickness, it's going to, some of them are going to be not cooked enough. Some of them are going to be cooked too much. So you really want to try to go for an overall consistent thickness. I'm thinking that's about good. That's about good. It's usually going to feel a little bit thinner around the edges, but that's okay. All right, now the next thing you're going to do is you are going to take a fork and you're going to prick the dough all over. And the reason you're going to do that is so it doesn't bubble up while it's baking. And sometimes it's best if you try to go in a grid pattern so you don't forget what you've already poked and what you've yet to poke. Let's see, that feels a little thick right there. I'm gonna give that just a little bit more. Put my holes in, doop, 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 doop. All right, next thing you do is you take a little bit of olive oil or your oil of choice, just give it a smooch, and then brush that all over. Don't need a lot. All right, there you go. And what I use, and then you want to score. You want to score your crackers. I use, this is a little ravioli wheel thingy. You could use a pizza cutter. If you don't have this, or you don't have a pizza cutter, you can use just a nice sharp knife, and that'll work just as well. So what I recommend, and this is from my personal experience, is that you use your cutter going one way, then the other way back, then this way, then that way. And that helps the dough to lay nice and flat and not give you any troubles. And now this doesn't have to be gorgeous and beautiful. In fact, you don't have to score your dough at all. If you wanted to, you could bake it just like this, and then when the crackers are done, you take the whole thing and just break it into rustic shards, if you will. It all tastes the same. And when you're going the opposite direction, you do the same thing, up one way and down the other. And you can make them big, you can make them small, you can make them any way at all. Sounds like a Dr. Seuss rhyme. There you go. Now, the last time I made these, or I should say the first time I made these, I took the ranch powder and I sprinkled some on the top, and that was great. And when I tasted them, it tasted so good. So the second batch, because I've had that much dough, and I'm probably going to make 4 trays of it, 3 or 4 trays. I sprinkled even more powder on. Don't do that. Take my advice, because this stuff, if you have too much powder on it, oop, that's my oven. We're almost ready to go. If you have too much powder on it, it's just going to burn. It's not burn like turn black, but it's going to get way too dark. It's still going to taste okay, but it's not going to look very appetizing. So what I do is I take a little bit and I pour it into the lid. Like, see, that's more than I want to use. So I'm just going to put a little bit in my hand. And this, I would say, is like a 1/4 teaspoon. Wouldn't you agree? And I'm going to maybe not even use all of it. And you could definitely decide not to add anything to the top, and that would be perfectly fine. Because I think, like I said earlier, I added more of the ranch powder this time than I did the last time, because I just wanted more ranch flavor, and it was so good. All right, let me get my tray. Let me let my cat go get her Friskies. And I'm just gonna slide this onto the tray. All right, that was a boo-boo, but I can fix that. Let's see. Flip, 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 flip. No big deal. No big deal. Now, if I was in a cracker making competition, I would probably be disqualified. Anyway, all right, I'm going to put that in the oven, and then we're going to start with the other ones. Now, you want to bake these for about 15 to 20 minutes, and what I like to do is in the middle of baking, I like to just rotate the pan in the oven. That way, you know that it's getting baked evenly. You put it on a center rack at 350. All right, let's get them in. I've set my timer for 8 minutes, and I'm going to check them and rotate them at 8 minutes, and then I'm going to set it for another 8 minutes, and then that might be all I need. We'll have to see. Also, I don't know if you can hear my cat. I let the cat through the door, and now she's crying to come back in. Ugh, cats! Meow! Now this is the Everything Bagel dough, and it feels a little bit firmer than the ranch did, but that might be because I had the whole wheat flour in it. Anyway, let's get going on these. Crackers have been in the oven for a total of 22 minutes at this point. And as you can see, it's a little browner around the edges and still kind of light in the middle, although it feels like it's done. What you could do if you wanted something to be colored more like this cracker right here, you could take these off with a little spatula. This is still very hot, and put the rest of this in for just a few more minutes. Or what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let it sit on the counter and see if it doesn't get a little more crispy. It's not going to get any more brown, but let's see if it gets a little more crispy. If it doesn't, we can put it back in the oven. Now I put in the Everything Bagel crackers, and now we're just going to wait and see how long it takes for them. These also took 22 minutes in the oven, and I think they turned out well. They feel good. They feel cooked. They're not as brown around the edges, but they're more brown overall, and that's probably because of the whole wheat flour. Now we must taste. Now the moment of truth. Let's start with the ranch crackers. Crispy. Very ranchy. Glad I put that extra bit in. Perfection. Now, let's try the Everything Bagel. Crispy. Because this is cooking it real, have to be 100% honest, it needs more of the Everything Bagel seasoning. Now, next time, I'm either going to add more into the dough, or maybe I'll sprinkle some on top. I think what it really needs is a little salt. So maybe sprinkle some salt on the top. We'll see. We'll test it out. You test it out. If you try this, let me know what you do. Let me know what you think. And I'll try it again based on your suggestions. And speaking of your suggestions, if you have anything you'd like to see on this channel going forward, please put some suggestions in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. If you are a subscriber, hit that notification bell so you won't miss anything on Cooking It Real. And we will see you next time on Cooking It Real. Oh my gosh, there goes that cat. Hoy, I gotta open that door. Duchess. Good grief, girl. You think you were trapped for ages.